When you think of Spain, you probably think of cosmopolitan Barcelona, buzzing Madrid, or maybe even the nightlife of Ibiza. Well, yes, we at Tripiamo do think you should see the Sagrada Familia, the Art of the Prado, and all of the other postcard-ready sites. We also know there is so much more to Spain once you get off the beaten path. The other side of Spain, the small villages of Riojan wine country, the seaside towns along the Mediterranean, the ancient towns of Andalusia, to name a few, is just as unmissable as some of the more popular urban centers. Unfortunately, off the beaten path is just that, not always accessible by public transportation. That's why we think renting a car is the way to go, at least for part of your trip. It's a way of getting a full view of Spain, a way to get closer to local life, and let's face it, to get away from the selfie stick-bearing crowds. That said, you're also probably watching because you're not sure about driving in Spain. Rules, signs, language, and etiquette does differ from the States. But don't worry, that's why we created Tripiamo, the only comprehensive guide to driving in Spain. Vetted by driving schools and foreign visitors that have driven in Spain before, our guides are the perfect place to get started with your driving adventure. To give you a little taste of what you'll learn in our guides, here are some of our tips for driving in Spain. Tip number 1, get your international driving permit. Spanish law requires it. It'll only cost you about $20 and 20 minutes at your local AAA office. You may not use it, but it'll save you a huge headache should you have any issues on the road. Tip number 2, make sure you know ahead of time what kind of fuel your rental car takes. Diesel is much more common in Spain, so don't assume your car takes gasoline. To make things a little more confusing, diesel in Spanish is gasoleo, while unleaded gas is often indicated as gasolina sin plomo. If you're not sure, there will often be an indicator on your dash or on your gas cap indicating the fuel type. Or, if you remember, it's always best to ask the rental agency ahead of time to be sure. Tip number 3, be aware of cyclists, who are much more common in Spain than in the US. 2 quick things to note. When passing a cyclist, ensure there's 1.5 meters or about 5 feet of distance between the two of you. Cyclists will also have priority when in bike lanes or when turning at an intersection. Tip 4, familiarize yourself with Spanish traffic signs, particularly to signs indicating speed limits, no entry zones, and parking restrictions. This can save you a headache and money on your trip. In addition, there are a number of signs you might see that don't exist at home, including signs indicating who has right of way. These are important to follow to avoid confusion and accidents. While this may sound overwhelming, the signs are fairly easy to understand as long as you know what you're looking for. Don't worry, we give you the full rundown in our Tripiamo guides. Tip 5, watch your speed. Speed traps are abundant in Spain and speed limits change frequently. Pay attention to signs as well as markings on the roadway. Beware that this doesn't mean you can outsmart the system and just slow down when you see a camera. Some speed zones will measure your speed at 2 separate points and average the time between them. Other areas are monitored by unmarked police cars or even helicopters. Tip number 6, know your AUTOPISTAs from your AUTOVIAs. While they often run side by side, AUTOVIAs, denoted by the letter A, tend to be a little more crowded. That's because they have more exits into smaller towns and they are also always toll-free. AUTOPISTAs, denoted AP, often have tolls and they aren't cheap. While it's often the quickest route, the budget traveler will probably want to take the AUTOVIA. One quick tip, think of the P in AUTOPISTA as paid. It can help you avoid some hefty tolls. Before our next tip, if you're finding this video helpful, please drop us a like on the video to help others find this content more easily. Our channel also posts videos on great tips and tricks for traveling abroad across the globe, like how to get a round-trip ticket to somewhere like London for under $300. Yes, I said under $300 round trip. Please subscribe to learn more travel hacks. Tip number 7, don't have any distractions while driving. While this is good practice regardless, Spain takes distractions very seriously and you can be fined for many behaviors that are not illegal in the US. Don't talk on your mobile phone, even hands-free. Don't adjust the radio while you're driving. In fact, even driving with one hand on the steering wheel can result in a €100 fine. Tip number 8, in general, be ready for a more offensive driving style. Drivers are much more likely to tailgate, but in Spain, it's not considered rude. Just stay aware of the drivers around you and you should be set for a safe journey. That's just a quick overview of some of the top tips you should know before driving in Spain. That said, there's nothing quite like getting hands-on experience to gain confidence driving abroad. I know the pre-trip anxiety personally, as I never felt fully prepared when driving abroad myself. Sure, there are resources online, but none of them felt complete. Many were out of date, and nothing made me feel like I was really ready to be on the road. That's why we created Tripiamo. In addition to a series of informative videos covering pretty much everything you'll need to understand as a foreigner in Spain, with Tripiamo you also have access to our 360-degree point of view driving tours that give you virtual practice, the closest you can get to real-world experience before actually being behind the wheel. This way, you'll know exactly what to expect as soon as you hit the road. With Tripiamo, you'll be able to enjoy your trip without worrying before your trip starts and the whole time while you're traveling. Our guides have been built by travel experts, vetted by European driving schools, and reviewed by countless travelers like yourself that have done it before, ensuring you're getting the complete and accurate picture to avoid all of these mishaps. Tripiamo guides cover everything from driving requirements to local etiquette to how to handle emergency situations, and even lots of ways to avoid unnecessary tickets and fines. So if you found this helpful, if you want to limit your chances of getting tickets, and if you're looking for confidence to drive abroad, you should definitely give Tripiamo a try. The best part is that you can complete everything in under an hour. Click the link in the description to access Tripiamo today. We hope you found this video helpful and wish you a safe and stress-free adventure in Spain.